Podcast Fresh.
There is a new Lord of the Rings movie announced. This is from Screen Rant. Warner Brothers has announced that a new Lord of the Rings movie is on the horizon, revealing the film is centered on Andy Serkis's Gollum, and that gives fans a good idea of where the project falls on the franchise's timeline. According to Variety, Serkis will reprise his role for the Gollum, or his role as Gollum for the project, which currently has a working title of The Hunt for Gollum. Peter Jackson will produce the film alongside Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens, and the studio is aiming for a 2026 release date. Very cool. You're a Lord of the Rings fan, correct? Like, just in general?
Yes, I am. I was here for Lord of the Rings Mania. You probably don't remember it because you were 6 years old, but in 2001, it was Lord of the Rings Mania. And I watched all three of them in the theaters. They're amazing movies. They have really great staying power with us older crowd, but the new kids don't really watch Lord of the Rings, you know? And you kind of saw that when the Hobbit movies came out. They were very successful, but it wasn't that same sort of fever pitch that the original three films had. Since then, there's been the Hobbit trilogy, and of course, the original Lord of the Rings was directed by Peter Jackson, and this one will be directed by Andy Serkis, who plays Gollum. So he'll be directing it. He'll be directing it with Peter Jackson there as producer. So at least it'll be under his watchful eye. The interesting part is, I believe this movie is going to take place between The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, or rather The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
But in the lore, The Hobbit comes first, followed by Lord of the Rings.
Oh, the Hobbit movies are prequels. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting. Yeah, The Hobbit is the story. It follows Bilbo Baggins. Mm-hmm. And Bilbo has to, I can't remember because it's been so long, but he's got the ring or something like that, or he's got to go up to the mountain and fight this dragon. I can't remember. It's been years since I read the Hobbit book, but really, really cool. I've never seen the Hobbit movies, actually, but I've seen all of the Lord of the Rings. I have them all on Blu-ray and stuff like that, but this should be good. This should be interesting, and we'll see what how this movie develops over time. With the casting and everything like that. But it's going to be a movie starring Andy Serkis, The Hunt for Gollum. So that's what the movie's called.
Cool. When was the last movie released? Because I don't think I've heard any Lord of the Rings hype in a long, long time.
I think The Return of the King came out in 2004. Let me just double check. Return of the King. 2003.
2003. And then the Hobbit movies are what, the teens?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so it's been a while. Damn, okay. That's cool. Will you be watching this?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking it out for sure. We'll see. I mean, we will see. The Rings of Power on TV wasn't that good, but hopefully this will be better.
It's always interesting bringing back a property like this that kind of like what you're saying, like, the kids don't care about Lord of the Rings. It's interesting to see how something like this does, in a new era like where we're at now. Like, for example, the Harry Potter show that they keep saying is coming out. Like, I'm very interested in seeing how that really is going to do, because, like, Harry Potter definitely is more successful, I think, as a franchise than Lord of the Rings. Like, Hogwarts Legacy, the video game, did really well. But I still struggle to think that they can catch lightning in a bottle twice with the show. Like, I don't know. I don't think it can happen. So it is interesting. Lord of the Rings is something I've never watched. I've never even tried to watch, and I think I would enjoy it if I actually did watch it, just because, like, I'm a Zelda fan, and I feel like this thing gives Zelda vibes all the way around. And the Zelda movie, people are kind of pushing for it to be more like Lord of the Rings. So I kind of want to check it out just for the fact of, like, maybe it is something I'd enjoy,
The films hold up really well. There was just something so cool about watching the first Lord of the Ring movies in the theater. It was just such a...
Yeah.
Just so cool just to see the graphics and, the special effects and how they're able to make Frodo appear so small, right, compared to, like, Gandalf, right? Yeah. So stuff like that was cool. There's a huge, like, imagination. You almost feel like a kid watching it, right? But good movies. I mean, sometimes they get a little too far away from the Hobbit characters, and it goes too much into like what the humans and everybody else is doing.
Right.
But it's a great one. If you're only going to watch one of them, I would just watch the first Lord of the Rings. It's excellent.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that this year.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm going to have a lot of time at home at some point. So.
Right. It's kind of like if you're never going to watch any of the Narnia movies, that's fine. Just watch one. Watch the first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With Lord of the Rings, it's the same idea. If you just watch the first one, the first one's solid. The second one, though, is the most action-packed. Is the second one. Most trilogies are, right? The third one's it's still got action in it, but it more is there to sort of tie down the last story points.
It's always like that. Yeah, you're right. I never realized that. Yeah, the second things are always more action-packed, and then the third one tries to blend the first two together somehow. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, so new Lord of the Rings movie announced. Look forward to a review of that in the future. That's cool, man. Hopefully I can get everything under my belt by the time that comes out.